lately, like they're preparing us, that they're going to come out and disclose that aliens are here.
I often wonder who's going to do the announcement, whether it's going to be the church, whether it's going to be the government, or has Hollywood already made it, and is Hollywood actually conditioning us for that event?
Oh, I think so. Remember during the 80s when aliens were really benevolent?
Oh, yeah.
Now they're malevolent. They became evil aliens. But I think we have a lot of species out there visiting us, and I've had several events in my life that I think are connected to UFO.
The good aliens like the E.T. and the aliens in Close Encounters of a Third Kind, in the 80s, they were set for the social mind of those days. In today's society, if it's not evil, it doesn't sell. For example, the creed in the newspaper industry is, if it don't bleed, it don't lead.
Right.
And
exactly.
And whenever you're watching any news broadcast, you always get the bad news first because they want your attention. And I think that the worst thing anyone can do is watch the news first thing in the morning when they wake up or read the newspaper. What I do is I turn on the comedy channel. I want to start my day with a laugh.
Good for you. And I think everybody just turn it off.
Sure, there's so much negativity in everyone's world. You and I were talking about genetically modified foods. We're talking about all the microwave towers that are inundating us with microwaves. And everyone, I swear to God, something happened genetically that I didn't catch on to. Apparently, I missed the implementation of a cell phone to the ear of a person when they're born.
Oh, my gosh. I know. Where are we headed with all this electronic stuff? I don't know. And, we've just got to get away from that. We've got to reconnect with Mother Earth.
Oh,
and I think
agree.
That's so important with all these Earth changes going on. We have to connect again. And, that's something I learned when I was very young about Mother Nature. I spent a lot of time outside and observing nature. And I think that's why I've had so many dreams about these events that are coming up. And I've had many, many dreams that have warned me of things coming.
When I was a child, and I'm sure the same thing was for you, Betsy, we played outside, whether it was winter, spring, summer, or fall. My parents made us wear these funny things called raincoats when it rained outside.
And galoshes.
Oh, yeah, right. The good old rubber belly boots. And you know what? We would walk to school. We took a lunch with real food.
Yeah, right.
And what we did is at breakfast, we sat down with Mom and Dad. We went to school, Mom and Dad worked, but at night, we looked forward to having supper with Mom and Dad so we could share what happened during the day and find out what the plans were for that evening, who we were going to see, and do things as a family unit. It was called, talking. That's what it was called. It was called talking. But
what a concept.
What a concept. But everybody in today's society does texting. Oh, for God's sake, if you need to use a phone, here's a quarter. Put it in. I think that what we've done is we've allowed technology to overtake the human society.
We have. We're just so disconnected from everything around us and the world around us that, we're not using our intuition anymore.
No.
Our ancestors had to. They had to rely on it to survive.
Yes.
And here we are. We're just disconnected from everything. And we've got to reconnect again. We've got to reconnect with each other in order to survive. And the earth, too. It's so important. And everything has a consciousness. Everything is alive, and we've forgotten that. I've spent a lot of time with Native Americans during the 90s with powwows and sweat lodges, and I learned from them. And we just have to get back to that again, to honoring everything.
But you
and
see,
we don't.
but you see, Betsy, what you're talking about is a unique concept that has long been forgotten by most people, called common sense.
Right.
You know, it's easier to sit in the car and go through a drive-through. It's easier to let the kids play with the play on the computer or play with their video games instead of talking to them because you're too busy talking to your friends or texting to your friends. I even know of a family who live in a regular single-dwelling home that instead of the mother calling out or yelling, "Supper's ready," do you know what she does? She texts the three.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like, how stupid.
Right.
And have you seen how the kids of today spell, read, and write?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Cursive is becoming extinct.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's time that we do something about it before we lose it all. And I think we're very close to losing it all. And the signs are there, but people are too busy texting, walking, looking down, texting, and walking than to see what's going on right around them. We've got the environment, we've got the seas, we've got animals that are dying off, and we'll never see them again. As you and I were talking, it's in the near future, you'll have to take your family to spheres, zoos, and aquariums to see what the world was really like at one time, not that long ago.
Right, yeah. Where are we headed? I just think we have to awaken. Everybody's talking about that we're awakening, but we're not there yet. We may be getting there, but, we've got a lot more work to do, and it takes all of us doing it. And I think if we all come together in mass, and we can create a new world. We can dream a new world into being. Our positive thoughts. And, our thoughts are things. And together, it's been proven, even during 9/11, with the satellites that were going over, they picked up a spike in the geomagnetic field of Earth. So obviously our thoughts do things to the planet, to everything. And we have to learn that, relearn that.
Has there been an increase in activity when it comes to chemtrails?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Really?
I've been watching that since the 90s.
Yeah, I know you have.
They're incredible, and I watched when we have like a weather front coming in, we get all kinds of chemtrails. In fact, I put some on Facebook, and the ones that I take, and I've watched these strange rainbows around them. Yeah. I've seen these strange shadows that seem to go ahead of them, which is very bizarre. There's just a lot of weird things, and these are not contrails. I know people keep saying, oh, it's contrails. Well, contrails dissipate, and I'm sure you know that too, but these spread across the whole sky.
And they're in set patterns.
And patterns, right, and X's and grid marks.
Tell me, what is the latest analysis of the chemtrails?
Well, weather modification. Of course, they keep talking about that with the barium and the aluminum in it. And, of course, that's going into our water.
Yeah.
Maybe that's causing a lot of the water to be toxic. I know there's what they call, I think, green water or green-blue water that's forming from algae, strange algae that's forming. The bees. That might be a cause for the bee collapse around the world.
I personally put the bee collapse around the world due to the increase in microwaves.
Well, that could be too.
Yeah. That's just my theory. Yeah. So, if it's weather modification, we've got HAARP, we've got the chemtrails, and if we are doing weather modification, the other countries around the world are doing weather modification. Why do they need to modify the weather if there's nothing wrong with the existing systems?
Well, they say because of global warming. That's a lot of theories, that people have. But I don't know if putting down all these chemtrails in the sky would stop global warming. I would think that it would hold the warmth in, wouldn't it?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Something doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. Not at all. Well, what are they doing? Is it some kind of control over us? Is it control of the weather? Are they trying to hide something in the sky they don't want us to see? Is it... Who knows? Do you have any theories on it, Ron?
No, I really don't. I really don't. All I know is that a lot of people are really concerned, and the questions that they're asking are not met with answers, but a deaf ear. And when you ask somebody a question and they say, geez, I don't know, that's one thing. But when you ignore the person who's asking the question, turn your back and walk away, well, hold on a minute. What are you hiding? What are you walking away from? What do you know that I don't know?
Right.
And, of course, once again, we were talking earlier about the genetically modified foods. We have no idea what we are doing when it comes to GMOs. Hey, listen, I love a big strawberry. I don't like watermelons with no seeds. There's something about a watermelon with seeds that is natural, and all these other, modified foods that we're feeding ourselves. We're going to pay for this.
We are.
Yeah.
Every time man has interfered with nature, Mother Nature, it always ends up in disaster.
Sure. Do you want to see me get myself into a lot of trouble? Watch this. Watch this. To see the results of food modification, just look at all the fat people in the world today. Look at how fat our kids are. Not only are they fat because of the food, they're also fat because they're lazy. They don't they don't play sports, they don't go for walks, they just sit on their big, ever-growing butts in front of a computer or a TV. That's not life.
True.
Yeah.
How true. They don't eat wholesome foods. It's easier to go out and get a McDonald's than make a wholesome... I don't think most people can cook out there either. I hate to say that, but, I love to cook. And, I just can't imagine people not doing that. We grow a garden, and I don't want to eat stuff that's from, the stores if I have to, but, have a garden.
That's because people today, my dear friend, are very lazy.
You're right.
And they're all.
You're right.
Well, wait a minute. Let me clarify that. Some people are lazy. Other people are just so damn tired working 2 jobs, taking care of a family, just trying to make ends meet. It's easier to drive through McDonald's than it is to come home and actually spend time making supper. Betsy, you and I have to take our final break for this hour. Please stand by. Exonation, Betsy Lewis is our guest. Her website, www.betsylewis.com. That's www.betsylewis.com, and we'll both be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away. And whatever you do, if you're going to zip off to the hamburger store, don't upsize it. We'll be back. Don't go away. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.